Most men go through life believing they understand women, yet they miss the quiet signals, the unspoken desires, the moments where a woman is silently hoping he would just get it. Not with loud gestures, not with rehearsed lines, but with a presence so deep, so grounded, it touches something inside her she can't even explain. There's a truth many older men never hear, not because it isn't real, but because women rarely say it out loud. And the men who understand it don't chase women, they become unforgettable to them. This is not about manipulation. This is not about tricks. This is about awareness, maturity, and emotional intelligence that most men ignore until it's too late. Because the truth is, women don't always want what they say, they want what they feel. And there are things they secretly crave from older men, things that ignite a connection deeper than attraction. The first one is something most men completely overlook. There's a moment when a woman tests your presence, not with words, but with silence. She withdraws slightly, watches you, studies your reaction. Most men panic in that space. They try to fill it, impress her, chase her attention. But what she secretly wants is for you to remain calm, not cold, not distant, but grounded. She wants to feel that your world does not collapse just because her energy shifts. That you are steady like a mountain that doesn't move when the wind changes direction, because in that calmness she feels safety. And safety, for a woman, is far more powerful than excitement. An older man who understands this doesn't react impulsively. He doesn't beg for attention, he doesn't over-explain himself, he simply stays centered, and that quiet strength pulls her in more than any words ever could. Then comes something even deeper, something emotional. A woman secretly wants to feel seen, not just for her beauty, but for her contradictions. She wants a man who notices the strength behind her smile, the thoughts behind her silence, the emotions she doesn't openly express. Most men compliment what's obvious, her looks, her style, her appearance, but an older man who understands her speaks to what's hidden. He says things like, "You act strong, but I can tell you carry a lot on your own." And in that moment, something shifts inside her, because she realizes this man isn't just looking at her, he's understanding her, and that is rare. There's also something women rarely admit, but deeply feel. They are drawn to a man who is not easily impressed by them. Not because they want to be rejected, but because they want to feel that your attention has value. If you give it too easily, it loses meaning. But when you are selective, when you appreciate her without putting her on a pedestal, she feels challenged in a way that awakens her interest. An older man who has lived, who has experienced life, who knows his worth doesn't rush to prove himself. And that quiet confidence creates a magnetic tension. Now here's where it becomes even more powerful. Women secretly want emotional leadership, but not dominance. They want a man who can guide the energy of the connection, who can set the tone, who can remain composed even when emotions rise. Because emotions, for many women, come in waves. And when a man gets pulled into those waves, reacting, arguing, losing control, she loses trust in his stability. But when he listens, understands, and responds instead of reacting, she feels held, not controlled, but understood. And that feeling is addictive. There's also a deeper, almost unspoken desire. A woman wants to feel desired, but not in a cheap or predictable way. Not through empty compliments or rehearsed attraction. She wants to feel that your desire comes from appreciation, from connection, from the way she makes you feel when she's simply being herself. An older man who expresses desire with sincerity, not desperation, creates a different kind of attraction. It's not loud, but it lingers. And then there's something most men never realize. Women are constantly observing how you treat yourself. Your discipline, your habits, your boundaries, because how you treat yourself teaches her how to treat you. If you lack self-respect, she will feel it. If you compromise your values for her approval, she will notice. But when you stand firm in who you are, when your actions align with your words, she feels something rare. Respect, and respect is the foundation of lasting attraction. Now here's the part that changes everything. A woman secretly wants a man who is emotionally present, but not emotionally dependent. She wants to feel your depth, but not carry your weight. She wants connection, but not responsibility for your happiness. And an older man who understands this becomes someone she can lean into without feeling burdened. Because he is already whole, and when a man is whole, he doesn't seek completion. He shares his life instead of trying to fill a void. That energy is powerful, and it's something most men never develop because they focus on what to say instead of who to become. And the truth is, women don't fall for words. They fall for presence, for consistency, for emotional depth that feels real. These are not tricks. These are qualities. And once a man develops them, he doesn't need to chase attention. It comes to him naturally because he becomes someone worth feeling. And this is just the beginning of what most men never understand about women's unspoken desires. There's something else, something even more subtle, yet incredibly powerful. A woman secretly wants to feel that she can't fully predict you, not in a confusing or chaotic way, but in a way that keeps her emotionally engaged. Most men become too available, too predictable, too easy to read. Every message comes instantly. Every reaction is expected. Every move feels rehearsed, and slowly the excitement fades. But an older man who has lived life differently, who values his time, his peace, his purpose, naturally creates a sense of mystery. Not because he's playing games, but because he has a life beyond her. And that's what draws her in. She starts to wonder, to think about you, to feel your absence when you're not around, because your presence is not something she can take for granted. And this leads to something deeper. Women secretly want a man who can challenge them emotionally and mentally, not by arguing, not by dominating, but by standing in his truth. When she tests your boundaries, questions your perspective, or pushes your limits, she's not always trying to fight you. Sometimes she's trying to understand you, to see if you will stand firm or fold under pressure. Most men fold. They agree just to keep peace. They change their opinions to avoid conflict. They lose themselves trying to please her. But an older man who knows who he is doesn't do that. He listens, he respects, but he doesn't abandon his truth. And that creates a deep sense of attraction, because she feels like she's dealing with a man, not someone trying to become what she wants. Now here's something that might surprise you. A woman secretly wants you to walk away when she disrespects you. Not dramatically, not with anger, not with ego, but with quiet dignity. Because when you tolerate disrespect, you teach her that it's acceptable. But when you calmly step back, when you show through your actions that you value yourself too much to accept less, she feels the weight of that. And in that moment, she sees your value more clearly. This is not about punishment. It's about self-respect. And self-respect is something women deeply admire, even if they never say it. There's also a deeper emotional layer most men never touch. A woman wants to feel that you can handle her vulnerability, not fix it, not solve it, not dismiss it. Just hold it. When she opens up about her fears, her past, her insecurities, she's not looking for solutions. She's looking for understanding, and most men fail here. They interrupt, they advise, they try to be useful. But an older man who understands emotional depth simply listens. He creates a space where she feels safe to be seen without being judged. And in that space, she connects with you on a level that goes beyond attraction. It becomes trust, and trust is what turns temporary feelings into lasting bonds. Now let's go even deeper. Women secretly want to feel like they are part of your world, but not your entire world. They want to be included, valued, appreciated, but not made responsible for your happiness. Because when a man makes a woman his entire focus, it creates pressure. and pressure slowly turns into distance. But when a man has purpose, direction, and a life he is building, she feels drawn into that energy. She doesn't feel like she has to carry you. She feels like she gets to experience life with you, and that changes everything. There's also something very few men understand. A woman wants to feel your emotional restraint, not suppression, but control. She wants to know that you feel deeply, but you're not ruled by your emotions. Because when a man becomes reactive, unpredictable, or emotionally unstable, it creates uncertainty. And uncertainty breaks attraction, but when you remain composed, even in difficult moments, she feels something powerful. She feels that you are in control of yourself, and a man who controls himself doesn't need to control anyone else. That energy is incredibly attractive. And finally, there's something almost no one talks about. A woman secretly wants you to take your time. In everything, in building connection, in expressing emotions, in growing intimacy. Because when things move too fast, they feel shallow. But when a man moves with intention, with patience, with awareness, every moment feels meaningful, and meaning is what creates depth. An older man who understands this doesn't rush to impress. He allows things to unfold, and in that space, real connection grows. Because it's not forced, it's felt, and once a woman feels that kind of connection, it stays with her. Even when you're not around, even when time passes. Because what you gave her wasn't surface level attention. It was something deeper, something real, and most men never reach this level because they're too focused on getting attention instead of becoming someone worth remembering. But you're starting to see the difference. And this is where everything begins to shift. There's a moment in every connection, quiet, almost invisible, where everything either deepens or slowly begins to fade. Most men don't even notice it, but a woman does. And in that moment, she's not listening to your words anymore. She's feeling your energy, measuring your consistency, watching whether the man she sensed in the beginning is the same man standing in front of her now. Because one of the deepest things a woman secretly wants is consistency that doesn't fade with time. In the beginning, many men are attentive, present, intentional. They listen more, they show more, they give more. But slowly, that energy changes. They become comfortable, predictable in the wrong way, less aware. Less present, and she feels it, not because she expects perfection, but because she values effort. An older man who understands this doesn't perform in the beginning and disappear later. He is steady, his presence is not temporary, his attention is not a phase, and that builds something very rare. Because consistency is what transforms attraction into emotional security. And emotional security is what keeps her connected to you even when life becomes complicated. Now here's something even deeper. A woman secretly wants to feel that you can handle her independence without feeling threatened by it. She doesn't want to shrink herself to make you feel comfortable. She doesn't want to dim her light just so you can shine. She wants to know that you can stand beside her, not compete with her. Most men struggle here. They feel intimidated. They compare, they try to regain control. But an older man who has built his own identity doesn't feel threatened by a strong woman. He respects it, he admires it, and because of that, she feels safe being fully herself around him. And when a woman feels safe to be herself, she doesn't hold back. She invests, she connects, she stays. There's also something incredibly powerful that often goes unnoticed. A woman wants to feel that you choose her not out of loneliness, but out of clarity. That you're not with her because you need someone, but because you want her specifically. Because when a man chooses from need, it feels heavy, but when he chooses from strength, it feels intentional. And intention carries weight. An older man who understands this doesn't chase out of fear of being alone. He connects because he recognizes value, and when a woman feels chosen like that, it touches something deep inside her. Because it feels real, Now let's talk about something even more subtle. A woman secretly wants you to protect the connection, not just enjoy it. Meaning, she wants to see that you are aware of what you're building together, that you don't entertain distractions, that you don't allow outside influences to weaken what you have, because connection is fragile, and when a man treats it casually, it slowly breaks. But when he protects it, nurtures it, respects it, she feels secure investing her emotions, because she knows this man values what we have. And that value creates depth. There's also an emotional truth most men never realize. A woman wants to feel your silence as much as your words. Not every moment needs to be filled. Not every space needs to be explained. Sometimes she just wants to sit with you and feel peace. No pressure, no performance, no expectations, just presence. And an older man who is comfortable in silence, who doesn't rush to fill every gap, creates a different kind of connection. Because silence, when shared with the right person, doesn't feel empty. It feels full, and in that fullness, she feels close to you in a way words can't create. Now here's where it becomes even more meaningful. A woman secretly wants to see your growth, not perfection, but evolution. She wants to know that you are not stuck in your ways, that you can reflect, learn, and become better over time. Because growth shows awareness, and awareness shows depth. Most men resist this. They become rigid, defensive, unwilling to change, but an older man who embraces growth becomes more attractive with time, not less. Because he doesn't just age, he evolves, and that evolution keeps the connection alive. There's also something deeply emotional, something that touches the core of how a woman feels with a man. She wants to feel that you can create memories, not just moments. Anyone can spend time, anyone can talk. But very few men create experiences that stay in her mind long after they're gone. It's not about money. It's not about grand gestures. It's about intention, the way you look at her, the way you speak, the way you make ordinary moments feel meaningful. An older man who understands this turns simple experiences into something unforgettable, and those memories become emotional anchors. They keep her connected to you, even in your absence. And finally, there's something that ties all of this together. A woman secretly wants to feel that being with you makes her better, not smaller, not confused, not drained. Better, more peaceful, more inspired, more aligned with herself, because the right connection doesn't take away from who she is. It elevates her. And an older man who brings that energy into her life becomes more than just someone she's attracted to. He becomes someone she values, someone she respects, someone she doesn't want to lose. And when you reach that level, you're no longer competing with other men. You stand alone because what you offer is not common, it's rare, and rare things are never forgotten. And now we arrive at something deeper than attraction, deeper than connection, something that most men spend their entire lives searching for, yet never truly understand, because at the core of everything a woman secretly wants is not perfection, it's truth. There's a quiet moment that happens when a woman stops analyzing you, stops questioning you, and simply feels you. And in that moment, she's asking herself one thing: is this man real? Not perfect, not impressive, not flawless, real. Because a woman can sense when a man is pretending, when he's performing, when he's trying to be what he thinks she wants. And no matter how polished it looks on the surface, it never reaches her heart. But when a man shows up as he truly is, with his strength, his flaws, his depth, his honesty, something shifts. She relaxes because she no longer feels like she has to figure you out. She can trust what she feels. And trust is where everything begins. There's also something incredibly powerful that most men misunderstand. A woman secretly wants you to have standards, even if it means risking her. Not rules to control her, but values that guide you. Because when a man has no standards, he becomes adaptable to everything and meaningful to nothing. But when he stands for something, when he knows what he accepts and what he walks away from, she sees clarity. And clarity is attractive because it shows that your life has direction, that you're not just reacting to people, you're choosing what aligns with you. And when she feels chosen by a man who has standards, it means something. It feels earned. Now here's where it becomes even more human. A woman secretly wants to see your passion for life, not just for her, for your work, your purpose, your growth, your experiences. Because when a man's entire energy revolves around a woman, it becomes overwhelming. But when he has something that drives him, something that excites him beyond the relationship, it creates balance. And balance creates attraction. An older man who wakes up with purpose, who moves with intention, who builds something meaningful with his life, naturally becomes someone she respects. Because she's not just looking at how you treat her, she's looking at how you live, and how you live tells her everything. There's also something very few men are willing to accept, but it changes everything once you do. A woman secretly wants to feel that she can lose you if she doesn't value you. Not because you threaten to leave, but because your life is full enough, your standards are strong enough, and your self-respect is deep enough that you will walk away from anything that doesn't align with you. And that awareness creates respect because people value what they can lose. And when a woman feels that your presence in her life is not guaranteed, but earned through mutual respect, she invests differently. She shows up differently. She feels you differently. Now let's go even deeper into something almost spiritual. A woman secretly wants to feel your peace, not your excitement, not your intensity, not your words. Your peace, because life is already chaotic. Emotions are already overwhelming. The world already demands so much from her. And when she is with a man who brings calm, clarity, stability, she feels at home, and that feeling is priceless. An older man who has learned to control his mind, his reactions, his emotions, carries a presence that is rare. He doesn't add chaos to her life, he reduces it, and that is something she will never forget. There's also one final truth, one that ties everything together in a way most men never realize. A woman secretly wants you to inspire her without trying to change her, to elevate her without controlling her, to love her without losing yourself, because the moment a man loses himself in a woman, he loses the very thing that made him attractive in the first place. But the man who remains grounded in who he is, while still being open, present, and emotionally available, becomes someone she can grow with. Not someone she has to fix, not someone she has to manage, but someone she can respect deeply, and respect is what keeps love alive long after the excitement fades. So understand this, it's not about learning lines. It's not about memorizing techniques. It's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming more of who you already are at your best, refined, grounded, aware. Because when you become that man, you don't need to chase attention. You don't need to compete. You don't need to prove anything. Your presence speaks before your words ever do. And the women who cross your path feel it, not because you told them to, but because it's real. And real is something the world is starving for. When he realizes that everything he was chasing was never meant to be chased in the first place. Because attraction, connection, respect, they don't come from trying harder. They come from becoming deeper. And if you've truly listened not just to the words, but to the meaning behind them, then you already feel the shift happening inside you. Because this was never about women, it was about you, about the man you choose to be when no one is watching, about the way you carry yourself when life tests you, about the standards you hold, the peace you protect, the truth you live. Because when a man becomes grounded in himself, something powerful happens. He stops seeking validation and starts attracting respect. He stops chasing attention and starts creating presence. He stops fearing loss and starts valuing alignment. And that changes everything. The kind of woman who once seemed complicated now becomes clear, because you're no longer trying to decode her words, you're understanding her emotions. You're feeling what most men ignore, and in that awareness, you connect on a level that goes beyond surface attraction. You become someone she remembers, not because you tried to impress her, but because you made her feel something real. Something rare, something she can't easily replace. But here's the truth you must hold on to: none of this works if it's an act. None of this matters if you're pretending, because the moment you fake it, it loses its power. So don't try to do these things. Become the kind of man who naturally embodies them. A man who is calm in chaos, clear in confusion, strong without force, present without pressure. A man who knows that his value does not come from being chosen, but from being aligned with who he truly is. Because when you reach that level, you don't just change how women see you, you change how you see yourself. And that is where real power begins. So walk forward with awareness, move with intention, speak with honesty, and live in a way that reflects the man you know you're capable of becoming. Because the world doesn't need more men who are trying to impress, it needs men who are real. And when you become that man, you won't just attract women, you'll attract respect, peace, and a life that finally feels like your own.